All right, let's go ahead and continue. So let's look at this problem here, and I noticed one thing. I noticed that my exponent is -1. Again, that would mean division. So you can rewrite this if you want, but just recognize that I'm going to divide it. X to the third minus 6x squared minus 4x plus 14, and that would technically be over x squared plus x minus 2. I know it's tempting as it is to just go ahead and like try to cancel things on top and bottom that are the same. You can't do that per se when you have addition or subtraction signs in between. You can only do that if I had multiplication signs in between. So let's go ahead and try to work this out on the side here. I guess I'll try here. Hopefully I have space. Now I'll go right there. All right, so I'm gonna have the outside x squared plus x minus 2. And on the inside, I'm going to have x to the fourth plus x to the third minus 6x squared minus 4x plus 14. All right, so again, I know it looks daunting because I have a trinomial on the outside here, but just remember the pattern that we went through. First term with first term. So I'm thinking, how many times does x go into, x squared, how many times does x squared go into x to the fourth? Or x squared times what is going to give me x to the fourth? Well, that's going to be x squared. X squared times x squared is x to the fourth. So on the side, I'm going to do some scratch work. X squared times, let's go ahead and multiply that out. X squared plus x minus 2. That's going to give me x to the fourth plus x to the third minus 2x squared. And so I'm going to write that here. X to the fourth plus x to the third. Having a hard time writing this 3 here. Minus 2x squared. All right, divide, multiply, and subtract. Remember that tune. Remember it, divide, multiply, and subtract. So when I subtract, I'm going to subtract x to the fourth. And then I'm going to subtract x to the third. Sorry, I need to get this to right. Subtract, subtract. And I'm going to subtract negative 2x squared. So that's really going to change to plus. All right, let's see what happens. The x to the fourths cancel, the x to the thirds cancel, and I'm left here with negative 6x squared plus 2x squared. So I'm going to change colors. Negative 4x squared remaining. Negative 4x squared remaining. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and bring down my next terms. Minus 4x plus 14. I just brought down the rest because I have a trinomial and there's only 3 terms left. So let's go back to where we started. We're going back to the x's. So I'm looking at my first term, which is x squared, and my first term here, which is negative 4x squared. So with that being said, x squared times what is going to give me negative 4x squared. So that's just going to be negative 4. Notice I'm writing it over the constants. Negative 4 times x squared plus x minus 2 is negative 4x squared minus 4x plus 8. So let's go ahead and write that in over here. Negative 4x squared. Negative 4x squared minus 4x plus 8. All right, divide, multiply, and subtract. Let's go ahead and switch these signs up. Okay. Let's see what happens. Cancel. Those happen to cancel too. And this is a little bit hard for me to recognize, so I'm going to just kind of scratch that out and write a minus 8. All right, so 14 minus 8 is 6. I know that if I try to divide x squared into 6, I can't do that. So this would be a remainder type problem. So let's see what we have. We have x squared minus 4 from right up here. And from that first video, I mentioned to you, if you have a remainder, you put it over what you divided by. So 6 over x squared plus x minus 2. Woo! That's a bit of a doozy. I'm almost certain some of you are going to have questions tomorrow about that one in class. Just let me know. All right, let's do this one. Again, it's a trinomial that we're dividing by. And also, I need to notice one thing. We haven't encountered this yet. Notice my exponents. They're decreasing. I'm in standard form, 3, then 1, then no exponent. But what we haven't mentioned is the fact that if this occurs, then you're going to have a power of 2. You need all of your powers to be present, even if you're just kind of like holding its place. So we have a power of 3. What we're missing is a power of 2. Then we have a power of 1 and power of 0. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make what I call a placeholder for that power of 2. So this is how I'm going to set it up. I'm going to have 3 x cubed, and then I don't have a squared term, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a 0x squared there as just a placeholder so that I don't get confused when I'm lining everything up. You need to have that there. Divided by x squared minus 3x plus 2. Let's look at our first terms. I have x squared and I have x to the third. X squared times what gives me 3x to the third? Well, that's going to be 3x. So let's multiply it out. 3x times x squared minus 3x plus 2. I get 3x cubed minus 9x squared plus 6x. Now, if I did not have this placeholder here, I would be shortchanging myself because I'd get a little bit confused on what goes right here or where the negative 9x squared would go. And what happens right here? What do I need to do? Think back to my song. Subtract. This would be minus. All right, so cancels. I now have positive 9x squared here. And then I have 4x minus 6x is negative 2x. Bring it down. and then bring it back. Let's go back to where we were with the first step, x squared and 9x squared. So x squared times what would give me 9x squared? So that would give me 9. And let's distribute. Minus 3x plus 2 equals 18x squared minus 27x plus, I'm sorry, you're probably like, where did that 18 come from? From nowhere, because I'm crazy. 9 times x squared is just 9x squared. All right. Minus 27x plus 18. Right here is 18. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that down. 9x squared minus 27x plus 18. But I need to, of course, subtract. So when I subtract, let's go ahead and change my signs. Minus, plus, minus. So let's see what happens there. We're left with 9, that cancels. Negative 2x plus 27x. That's going to give me a positive 25x. And then 11 minus 18 is a negative 7. X squared cannot go into 25x, so that would be part of my remainder. So I'm going to have 3x plus 9 with the remainder of 25x minus 7 over x squared minus 3x plus 2. Gross. But that's the answer. All right. I want you to try this one on your own. Go ahead and pause the video. Think about all those steps I told you. Set it up. Make sure you have all your powers. If anything's missing, put that placeholder. And if you have remainders, put it over whatever it is you divide by. Go ahead and pause here. All right, check out that answer there. Hopefully you got it right, but if you made a mistake, I'm going to give you a hint. Probably your mistake was after this right here, after the 4x squared. Hopefully you put that placeholder of 0x. If you didn't, that might have caused you a little bit of trouble or confusion. All right, try this next one. Go ahead and pause the video here so that you can try this one out on your own. All right, this one was really straightforward and it gave me a nice clean answer. Hopefully you were able to get that one. Guys, if you had any questions, make sure to let me know in class tomorrow. Thanks. Bye.